Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving straight into the mind-blowing origins of Kedarnath. This isn't just your standard ancient geography lesson. We're talking about an epic collision of monumental victory, crushing human guilt, and a literal chase across the Himalayas for divine grace. It's a story of how a mythological game of hide-and-seek literally transformed the mountains themselves. So let's get into it.
Part 1. The Weight of Victory.
Okay, let's set the scene. On the left side here, you've got the ultimate triumph. The 5 Pandava brothers just won the massive Kurukshetra war. They are the victors. But look at the right side. That victory, it brought them absolutely zero joy. Instead, they were hit with this crippling, unbearable guilt. Think about it. The battlefield was completely covered with their own relatives, their respected teachers, their childhood friends. The internal grief of looking at the true cost of this war was it was completely overwhelming.
And that brings us to this crucial realization. Only Lord Shiva could free them from this burden. Human pardons? Time healing all wounds? No way. Not for destruction on this scale. This guilt launched them on a desperate, obsessive quest because they knew, without a shadow of a doubt, that only Shiva could wipe the slate clean and grant them the forgiveness they so desperately needed.
Part 2. The Search for Shiva. Now, getting an audience with the divine? Yeah, not going to be easy. Shiva wasn't just sitting around waiting to hand out pardons. As you can see, he was actually incredibly displeased with the sheer devastation of the war. So what does he do? When he hears the Pandavas are coming, he actively evades them. He literally packs up, leaves the sacred city of Varanasi, retreats deep into the unforgiving Himalayas, and completely disguises himself by taking the form of a bull. It's basically the most epic game of hide-and-seek you can possibly imagine.
To really grasp the scale of this chase, look at this timeline. This wasn't some quick weekend hike. It kicks off with Shiva leaving Varanasi. Then, the Pandavas are in active pursuit, relentlessly scouring massive forests and crossing raging rivers. Finally, the chase pushes them way up into the brutal, freezing, snow-covered peaks of the Himalayas. Days bleed into weeks, but you know what? The Pandavas absolutely refused to give up. Their determination was just off the charts.
Part 3. The Divine Encounter.
So this relentless, exhausting pursuit finally hits a boiling point right near present-day Kedarnath. And here is the crucial turning point. One day, high up in those freezing mountains, Bhima, one of the Pandava brothers, spots a strange bull grazing in a herd. But something is totally off about this specific animal. Bhima has this flash of realization, famously thinking, this is no ordinary animal. He instantly sees right through the divine disguise.
And this is where things get intensely physical. Bhima, realizing this bull is actually Lord Shiva, literally leaps forward and grabs the animal. But, you don't just tackle the divine. Before Bhima can really lock in his grip, the bull's body suddenly vanishes. It just sinks straight into the solid earth. And when the dust settles, only the hump of the bull remains visible above ground.
Part 4. Birth of the Panch Kedar.
Now that wild, miraculous event forever changed the landscape. It gave birth to what we call the Panch Kedar, 5 incredibly sacred Himalayan shrines. That hump left above the earth, that's exactly what's worshipped today at the Kedarnath Temple. But what about the rest of Shiva's vanished body? Well, it miraculously reappeared at 4 other spots across the mountains. His arms manifested at Tungnath, his face at Rudnath, his belly at Madmaheshwar, and his divine locks of hair at Kalpeshwar. Put them all together and you have the complete, highly revered Panch Kedar. Right after this monumental struggle comes the ultimate payoff, the final blessing. Shiva finally drops the disguise and reveals his true divine presence. You see, he recognized their unwavering devotion. He saw the pure grit it took to track him all the way across the Himalayas. Deeply moved by this, he forgave the Pandavas. He completely freed them from the heavy, crushing sins of the war. With clean consciences at last, they were finally allowed to continue their ultimate journey up through the peaks toward heaven.
Part 5. A symbol of redemption.
Okay, so we've got this absolutely epic ancient narrative. But what does it actually mean for us sitting here today? Well, for centuries upon centuries, millions of pilgrims have made the trek to Kedarnath specifically to remember this story of faith, repentance, and divine grace. When you're literally standing there among those towering mountains and biting icy winds, the sheer physical harshness of the environment totally mirrors the agonizing journey the Pandavas took. It makes the sacred reality of the temple so intensely tangible.
Which brings us to our core takeaways.
Kedarnath is way, way more than just a really old stone temple in the mountains. As we see here, it's a living, breathing symbol of redemption. It's living proof that no matter how unbelievably heavy your mistakes might feel, forgiveness is actually possible. It's also the ultimate symbol of perseverance, honoring those grueling weeks the Pandavas spent trudging through the snow. And of course, it stands as a permanent monument to the profound mercy of Shiva.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with something to really chew on. If that level of intense, sincere effort and unyielding devotion could lead to total forgiveness, even after the complete devastation of the Kurukshetra War, how can that same kind of perseverance help us overcome our own heaviest mistakes in life? It's a pretty profound question to ask yourself. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I really hope this sparked your curiosity to go out and learn even more.